And we're going to be in Revelation 18. So, give me one second. Got done eating dinner. My wife cooked me a couple pizzas. Since I can't pull it up on the That's pretty good. Okay. So, we are doing Revelations 18 tonight. And yesterday we were talking about the great whore of Babylon and Babylon. And we'll be continuing into this and how it relates into what's going on today. We were talking about the ten horns, which are the kings without kingdoms, and how there will be some that are taken away. And we were discussing that. So 18:1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lighted with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. What nation else could it be said that all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication? Probably not really, since Rome or maybe Genghis Khan, could one say. Verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. In the time of judgment that is coming, those who believe in God will feel a call to leave the United States. That time, I do not believe is yet. I believe it is coming. I believe we are about to experience years of plenty for a while. And then a while. And then the time will come. That's what it says. Verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Verse 6. Reward her, even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. Verse 7. How much she hath glorified herself, and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sat a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. That's very true. When a country gets as powerful as this country is, when that power fades, and it inevitably always does, because people don't want to keep watch when things are good. Well, no one's ever been at the gate. Not in my lifetime. But in your parents' lifetime there was. In your grandparents' lifetime there definitely was. Wolves at the gate. Yet people tend to forget. And when the power does wane, as it inevitably does in all kingdoms, then the wolves come in. The 10 horns, what did it say? The 10 horns said about the whore that rode upon them. Said that they hated her. In verse 16, right here. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is the great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. That was last night. But here again, it's speaking of it. But she will see no sorrow. Verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, and mourning, and famine. And she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. Verse 9. And the kings of the earth, who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her, and lament for her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Verse 10. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. But hold on. Just back up here in verse 8. Weren't we having them say, but it would be 1 day? But now in 10, you're saying it'll be in 1 hour. Well, we know the saying, a day is as to 1,000 years to the Lord. That doesn't mean that 1 day equals 1,000 years. That means 1 day equals ichthus. 1 day equals whatever God deems it does, because God is outside of time. And something that created space, matter, and time isn't controlled by its constraints. He is. That's something people struggle with, I think. The fact that God is. I am that I am, he said. Verse 10, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, the mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Verse 11, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. Think about it. If America was destroyed right now, how much of the world's economy would be just gone? Now imagine after we get done with Trump. And this second term of Trump is like King Ahab. And we already cast out Jezebel when we were able to get rid of Biden. We already were able to cast out the Satanists that were gallivanting in the White House and having porn made in the Capitol building. We've already cast them out of the high house. And we need the revival in the nation that comes with this. But even with this revival, Ahab's children had to pay the price. And so it will be no farther than that generation. Because we have killed the blood of innocents in this nation. For 60 years, it's been legal. While you couldn't kill an eagle egg because it's the potential of an eagle life, if one American went out, or even a foreigner went out and killed a bald eagle egg, you can get 20 years in federal prison at 80%. So you're doing 18. What? 16. But still, you're doing all that time for an eagle egg. But yet you can go to the clinic, and that's legal. So you can't tell me this hasn't been Babylon, because Babylon sacrificed their children to Baal and Molech. Verse 12. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones, and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and thyme wood, and all manner vessels of ivory, and all manner vessels of most precious wood, and of brass and iron and of marble, and cinnamon, verse 13, and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. Verse 14. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all which were dainty and goodly things are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. Isn't that like what Zombieland, the movie, was about? And he was just looking for a Twinkie. Right? All the goodly things. But he couldn't find a Twinkie. Sorry. Movie reference. Verse 13. And cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat, and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots. Oh, I think I already did that. And slaves and souls of men. Yep, and that one. All right, 15. I'm sorry, guys. The merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. See, even the people that are our friends, our allies, that's what we keep saying. All those people, what did Trump say? I don't think you guys are going to be there for us. If things happen, I don't think you're going to be there for us. I've read the Bible. You guys aren't here for America. When stuff gets rough, you guys bail. That's what Trump said. And like King Ahab, he's trying to set the kingdom straight before his time is departed, knowing that in his son's generation is the fall. "15. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. 16. And saying, Alas, alas, the great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. 17. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster, and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off. Verse 18. And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? 19. And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour she is made desolate. 20. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God hath avenged you on her. 21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. this part right here tells of the end of our nation, in my opinion. I think it speaks it pretty plainly, doesn't it? What will happen to our great nation? It will be cast down and to be found no more at all. 22. The voice of harpers and musicians and of pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. 23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by the sorceries were all nations deceived. Well, and you could see what they mean by our sorceries. If you were to go back, if you were to take away all American invention over the last 300 years, we would be pretty far back in time. We would still be at muzzleloaders and still be doing math by hand, no calculators. It's a lot of sorceries. Verse 24. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. Do you got any question, Rana, or anything? Do you have any on here? Anybody on Twitch got any questions? You guys got any questions about it? About what my interpretation is, or about how I'm interpreting it? Be more than happy to go back through any of it. Okay. Yeah. No worries. No worries. Glad that you hopped on. I was going over Revelation 18 and how it is in the time to come. I believe that Trump is today's Ahab, King Ahab. And King Ahab did clean up everything. In this second term, he's cleaning things up, right? He's cast out the evil, and is trying to, at least. But even in King Ahab's time, his son, in his son's time, they had to pay the price because they had brought in so much evil originally that they had to pay for it. So that's what I was, and how that relates. And that's very interesting because that correlates to like Cyrus the Great, and like there's a whole lot with the Iranian thing going on, and because Babylon was Iranian, and maybe we're the great whore, but Babylon the Great still has to come into existence. Maybe we're the great whore that gets destroyed, and Babylon the Great is about to be getting rebuilt. They're doing that line, that giant line in the sand in Saudi Arabia, the 9-mile long habitat for humans. Giant terrarium, one might say, in the middle of the desert. But that is my thoughts on chapter 18. If anybody even later on has a comment or a question, please leave it. I will try to answer it as best I can. And if I can't figure it out, I promise you my pastor will at least be able to point me in the right direction. Yeah. God bless y'all. Thank you for watching.